Bellingham's alpha energy is shaking up England's Euro campaign. Is his star power causing more harm than good? Stay tuned to find out his dynamic presence is impacting the team's stability and what Southgate needs to do balance the squad. Don't miss this deep dive into England's most electrifying player and the tactical challenges they face. The atmosphere in the Euro 2024 house is electric. Cristiano Ronaldo has now distilled his entire on-field presence into a series of viral reaction memes. German police are being equipped with tasers and sniper rifles to address the heightened threat posed by beaming, selfie-grabbing children whose parents might need to reconsider their supervision. Meanwhile, a formal investigation is underway to determine whether Jude Bellingham's gesture of grabbing his imaginary balls is a private joke among his friends or an insult to Slovakian manhood. In fact, only one of these statements is demonstrably true at the time of writing. However, it does raise many other lines of inquiry. What kind of investigation is this exactly? What kind of friends are we talking about here? And what is the chance that any sanction for breaching decent human conduct, UEFA translation, racism, arguably no, dick gesture, zero tolerance, will be delayed until after the tournament's second most famous man is safely packed off somewhere else? From an England point of view, UEFA is right in at least one sense. Some kind of investigation is required, and it should definitely center on Bellingham. To date, England's performances have resembled an extended experiment into the limits of audience discomfort, before dissolving into a frenzied screwball comedy for the final half hour against Slovakia. As the players spend the week in Bellinghamsheim refining whatever training process has led to this outcome, it seems increasingly clear that the way the manager has used Bellingham is key both to the current state of confusion and to the chances of resolving it. During Ronaldo's time at Juventus, it was said that he provided a solution to the problems he created. It would be unfair to apply this to Bellingham. However, his use so far by Gareth Southgate is undeniably a factor in the team's faltering rhythms, the dilution of pre-existing strengths, and the confusion in the central midfield. Is there time to fix this? Ideally, while also keeping those extraordinary moments of grace? England's balance is shot, with too many bodies crowding the same forward positions and too few in deep controlling spaces. The midfield is a mess, despite having had all those games since Qatar to find a method. It has been surprisingly poor preparation for a manager who is all about planning. But Southgate does deserve some sympathy here. The lure of Bellingham is key to this state of dissonance, to the late shift in shape and balance. And Bellingham is undoubtedly a very strange, sui generis footballer at this stage in his career. Bellingham wins games. He looks brilliant while also playing inconsistently. His performances are uneven. What is his position exactly? He's not a central midfielder at his level, something Carlo Ancelotti managed by playing him at the front of the team. It has been suggested in Spain that Bellingham lacks the stamina to play elite-level central midfield right now. But then, playing central midfield for Real Madrid is a peak career goal. When Luka Modric was 21, he was still at Dinamo Zagreb. So, what are Bellingham's outstanding technical attributes? He has been compared to Zinedine Zidane, but the Frenchman was always the best passer, dribbler, and touch player on any pitch. Currently, Bellingham's superpower seems to be belief, fearlessness, ball-grabbing game-changing arrogance, and the power of personality. Which is fine, but how do you channel that into a careful, system-built team? Plus, the things Bellingham offers are deceptive. What he gives you are delicious, consumable moments. He provides the football equivalent of the Maillard reaction, defined by French chemist Louis Camille Maillard to describe the process in cooking whereby heat is applied to a certain kind of starch to create crackle, flavor, salt, juice, all the good stuff. This is what we try to create and what we crave. It is what fiercely literal-minded men on the internet with blowtorches and chemistry books have now fixed on as the key basis of cooking. The fashion for the seared, smashed burger patty is basically a total mired overload, all flavor, all crisp surface area. And Bellingham is this modern, Moorish thing in football form. His mired-made flesh always trying to create moments, flavor the key and decisive ingredient in the dish, and often succeeding. But it has made his performances seem strange at times. The search for flavor a little overwhelming to the rest of the pot. Bellingham produced the best pass of England's Euro 2024 campaign, the deep-through ball to Ollie Watkins against Denmark. He scored a brilliant header and an extraordinary overhead kick. For 40 minutes against Serbia, he played like Hamlet, Elvis Presley, and Paul McCartney playing all the instruments on Let It Be. And you might imagine Bellingham was out there twirling these euros on his finger. But he is also part of their instability, and in a way that isn't entirely his fault. First, England are emotionally unbalanced by Bellingham. In some ways, this team is quiet bland, quiet mild, lacking in loud, dominant energy. In this context, Bellingham is just an overload of alpha energy. No one else is filling this room like this or drawing the cameras. Bellingham could probably use some boundaries, some competing energy, someone else to be big. Instead, he seems able to say and do whatever he wants, talking about learning from Madridismo, the eye rolling from Catalan journalists at this was a great tournament moment, making Hurricane Dad celebrate with him, doing his ball-grabbing antics, and then explaining it all over social media. Here is a 21-year-old who could probably benefit from something to push against. More importantly, the team is unbalanced tactically. The transformation of this late England iteration into a Bellingham vehicle is probably the worst thing that could happen to Southgate. Here is a manager who has never really loved midfield or had great midfielders to work with. He wants stability and balance there. With, say, prime Jordan Henderson in place, England might be puttling through with their usual efficiency. Instead, Southgate has Spider-Man, the Wolf of Wall Street, an attention supernova. With Bellingham, England's ceiling is much higher, but they have more difficult, more tantalizing energy to manage. It is too late to change this now. For Southgate, the only real option is to keep hanging on the rising balloon, to trust in the Jude-shaped universe. But it has been handled poorly. The 4-2-3-1 formation came late, with the idea of incorporating Bellingham into an area where England is already well covered. The midfield choices behind him have been baffling. Alexander-Arnold, Kobbie Mainoo, and Conor Gallagher are totally different players. A statement passer, a calm recycler, and a man who appears to be chased by a tiger. This is guesswork in action. Bellingham has suffered as a result, looking lost like everyone else but still providing moments of rescue. It is surely time to provide some more substance, with courage to shift Bellingham deeper, to play 4-3-3, to add another defensive body in midfield. Southgate may even be able to create some genuine structured freedom. All creativity comes from a solid base. Mainoo was England's best midfielder against Slovakia because he offered control. There needs to be more of this. The current chaotic version has been bad for Southgate's England. It isn't great for Bellingham either, who becomes the rooming savior figure, the moment's man, and who is vulnerable to all this, vulnerable to his own power. Out there in the brightest of lights, hostage to the way the world will hunger after him. He needs to be protected. At times, Bellingham can sound like he has swallowed a high-performance podcast archive. But this is not the same as being genuinely hardened to the pressure of this very new and violent public existence. He remains just as vulnerable as every other prodigy. He needs control, boundaries, and in practical terms, another deep midfielder to fill those spaces. Less flavor, more fiber. This sounds like a healthier recipe for everyone. In conclusion, Jude Bellingham's overwhelming alpha energy is both a blessing and a challenge for England's Euro campaign, while his talent and charisma elevate the team's potential. He also introduced a level of unpredictability and imbalance. Gareth Southgate must find a way to harness Bellingham's abilities while providing the team with the structure and stability it needs to succeed. The future of England's performance in the Euros may very well hinge on this delicate balance. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more in-depth coverage of your favorite sports topics. Let us know your thoughts on Bellingham's impact in the comments below.